There we go. Just rest assured that no one will be able to see you. It is just me and Anna and the slides that are being recorded. All cameras and mics are off for this webinar for our participants. But if you do have any questions, there is a Q&A box that you can find at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to use that to ask any questions throughout the presentation, but we will come back to them and we will answer them at the end. So please bear with us. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Laura. The only other piece of housekeeping that I would add is it's quite a generic presentation. We're basically running you through what you would have seen if you'd come to our in-person open evening in November. And some of you may have come to that. So we'll have a bit of updated information, but it's pretty much the same. But I just wanted to stress that the purpose of tonight is we can't deal with individual kind of student application questions. For those things, you would have to either go back to base schools, home schools, where they're in year 11, or email us separately to this webinar. This is a kind of general introduction to LaSWAP, how it works, and the overview of the kind of application process. So as Laura said, I'm Anna Rimington, Director of LaSWAP, and again, I'm very aware I might be talking to people who know LaSWAP really, really well, and your child is in year 11 at one of our 4 schools, or you may be on a completely different side of London and hearing about us for the first time. So for both of those audiences, apologies if you know these things. So just to explain, we are the kind of oldest consortium in London, and we've been around since 1980, and we are a consortium of 4 secondary schools, 4 quite different secondary schools, and together we make up the LaSWAP Sixth Form Consortium. And I mean, as the slide makes it clear, we're called LaSWAP because we're 4 schools: La Santa Union, William Ellis, Acklam Burley, and Parliament Hill. So LaSWAP as a sort of legal entity doesn't actually exist. We are 4 separate schools, and each of the schools has, as you can see, a head teacher there. And we also have a set of LaSWAP directors. So I'm talking to you as director of LaSWAP, and also I'm the Sixth Form director at Ackland Burley School. Laura, in the presentation tonight, as she said, is associate director of LaSWAP, and other of our colleagues who are not with us this evening: Rebecca Russell, another associate director; Rebecca Field, who is the director at La Santa Union; Nick Giorgio, director of Sixth at Parliament Hill; and Flora Wilson, director of Sixth Form at William Ellis. So we have a really well-established and well-experienced team who lead LaSWAP across the 4 schools. It's worth saying as well that we do have, we're 4 schools, but we have 5 sites, because we also have the site of Talaker, and Talaker provision, which we'll kind of come on to and touch on a bit later on. It's part of the William Ellis. You're based at William Ellis if you go to Talaker, but if you are interested in sport courses, level 1, level 2 sport courses, they happen at Talaker. All right, so what we're going to talk about this evening is we're going to talk about how LaSWAP works and the kind of practicalities. We're going to talk about the pastoral care that we offer, which we're really proud of, the curriculum, qualifications, the kind of pathways for getting into LaSWAP, and also enrichment. What else happens at LaSWAP? What other things can your child get involved with beyond the classroom? So this is us. There's some kind of pictures of various enrichment activities and so on for you to have a look at there. And then we've worked a lot last year around our kind of core values of who we are at LaSWAP, around excellence and community and equity, and creativity. And I suppose that point about creativity is something that lots of our young people talk to us about, because we are a sixth form where you do have quite a lot of choice about the courses that you do, and the reason for that is because we are big. Because of the 4 schools, we are able to run courses that other schools may be not able to do, and it means that pretty much you can do any kind of combination of subjects as long as you're qualified for that pathway as you would like to do. And we know that that is a really big draw for many of our young people. So how does LaSWAP work in practice? Well, you will have a 2-week timetable, and all of the 4 schools are very closely clustered together. So again, like I said, I know I'm aware some of you will be sitting there knowing exactly where we are, but for those of you who don't know where we are based, we are very close to Hampstead Heath. Two of the schools are right next to Hampstead Heath, William Ellis and Parliament Hill School. La Santa Union is just across the road on Highgate Road. And then Acklam Burley, where I'm talking to you from this evening, is, as I always say to the students, a very short 7-minute walk. So the 4 schools, if got lessons in one school and then you have to go to another one for one of your other lessons, actually that transfer time is not onerous and is factored into the timetable. So for students, it's really important they know you will be based at one of the 4 schools. For those of you who are parents of students in year 11 at one of the 4 LaSWAP schools, the default position is that you will be based at the school you're at in year 11. So if you are in year 11 at LSU and you come to LaSWAP, you are most likely going to have LSU as your base school. If you're studying an applied or vocational, a BTEC or a T-level course, you will definitely be based at the school that runs that course, because that's where most of your lessons will take place. Most students, and this is a really big draw of LaSWAP, most students will have lessons at more than one of the LaSWAP schools. And that's one of the real attractions of LaSWAP, this idea of a kind of campus feel, and students move between the lessons. You'll see from the timetable, we haven't got the timings on there, but most lessons are double lessons. And that means that, let's say, for example, you've got biology period 1 and 2 on a Thursday. You would then have a break, and it's a 25-minute break, so plenty of time to say, let's say you're coming across for your maths lesson at Acklam Burley, plenty of time to walk over. And that's important social time, and time when you get to know and make new friends when you're walking between the schools. Lunchtime again happens at 1:15, and all of the schools have the same lesson times and the same break time and the same lunch time in order to make the timetable run really smoothly. So what are our expectations when you come to LaSWAP? So we have, for our year 12s, they can expect to have a induction process at the beginning of September. And you then have every student, year 12 and 13, has compulsory weekly tutorial sessions, and that's on a Monday, period 3. And that's when they meet with their tutor and have assemblies. Their heads of year speak to them, and we have events and assemblies across LaSWAP as well. These become, that's when you give out all the information about in induction, about timetables, about how you log on to Teams. All of the sort of setup happens in those sessions, as well as guidance around UCAS and all of that kind of pathways job that we do. Careers, work experience, it all happens through the tutor and the pastoral group. So attendance to school is every day. We don't expect that our students necessarily are on our site all the time because they are walking between buildings. So we don't swipe them in and swipe them out in that way, but attendance is very rigorously followed up. We will expect our students to have a full working day. That means that they need to use periods on their timetable which are not timetabled for lessons, and we help them with the transition for that from year 11 to year 12, because that's a massive change, isn't it? So as I said, we have freedom for students to leave the site when they don't have lessons. And that expectation, though, is that students use their free and study time effectively. And there are study areas in all 4 of the schools that students use. And I'm just pointing out that picture you're seeing on the right. We always have a rounders match at the beginning of induction on the Heath in September. And this group of students is the winning team from last September, and that's a group of students who really they've never met each other 2 days before, and I just think that really kind of shows how well they get on with each other from the beginning. And there's people from all sorts of different parts of London are keen to come together and join our community. Okay, I think this is a really important pie chart at the bottom and right there about who makes up the LaSWAP community. We have about 55% of our LaSWAP community is actually new entrants. In other words, students from year 11 who didn't go to one of the 4 LaSWAP schools. So if you're listening tonight and your friends aren't coming along to LaSWAP, or you're thinking you're not quite, how are you going to make new friends? Will there be other people who don't know the schools? You are absolutely not going to feel isolated, because we have actually a majority of new entrants now. So it's about 55% of new entrants who didn't go to one of the LaSWAP schools, and then 45% of our intake come from the 4 LaSWAP schools. And you can see the picture there is actually another induction activity that we always run, which is a newspaper kind of dressing up. That the students always give us really positive feedback on when they do student voice about what they want to keep in induction and what they want to change. And we really like, which school was that, Laura? Is that Leytonstone School, or is that Willow School on the right? That's Willow.
That was on Black Horse Road.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's when we went on the road show. Yeah, that was students in the blue t-shirts who come along as our LaSWAP ambassadors, going back to their old school and recruiting for LaSWAP.
Very keen to join us.
Yes, they absolutely were. Okay, so if we move on, I think the best way of explaining the practicalities, before you hear from Laura, who's going to talk a bit more about the pathway and the entry requirements and so on, is we got a film that was made a couple of years ago, which talks you through, from a student perspective, how LaSWAP works. So let's play the film.
A-star in front of!
My name's Alfie and I'm a Year 12 student at LaSWAP.
My name's Emanuela and I'm a Year 13 student.
We really like it here.
And so we wanted to give you a flavour of what it's like to be a student at LaSWAP. LaSWAP is one of the biggest sixth forms in London. It's spread over 4 bases: Ackland, Burley and Tufnell Park, and just 10 minutes walk away, the Centre Union or LSU, Parliament Hill and William Ellis beside Hampstead Heath.
We're big in that we have obviously the 4 schools in the consortium, and what that means for students coming to LaSWAP is that they can do pretty much any combination of A-levels and BTECs that they are qualified to do, and that puts us in quite a unique position in London actually.
I'm doing A-levels in maths, psychology and applied sciences, which I do at Ackland Burley.
And I'm based at Parley. I'm studying maths, sociology and history, which I do at the new Sixth Form Centre.
This is a picture of the Declaration of the People's Republic of China. So, 2 minutes, think, pair, share. What does this suggest to us about Mao's position as leader?
He's reading off the script, which is like metaphor for something. You can't really see the people there as well.
Well, it symbolises, it's a traditional Chinese colour.
I'm off to my sociology lesson, which is at LSU.
And now I have my psychology lesson at the Sixth Form Centre next to Parley. LaSWAP is the only sixth form in the area offering product design.
I think it would be a bit smaller than 200.
Right, mark up the size you want it, I'll cut it on the bandsaw and then you'll glue it together and then it'll be ready for the next lesson, yeah?
I love working at LaSWAP just through the variety of students that come to the school, their passion and interest for being at a school like LaSWAP. As an ex-LaSWAP student myself, it's great being back in the vicinity of this place.
At lunchtime, you can hang out in the Sixth Form Centre and chat.
I was considering going to another different sixth form. I went to the open evening, it appealed to me, and I did well enough here that I felt confident that if I continued and stayed, I'd be able to still do well without going to more selective sixth forms.
Well, when I came to the sport, I decided to hit business level 3, which is a BTEC, When me growing up, I just used to love maths, so anything that involves maths, I would love doing it.
So I'm really indecisive in what I want to pick, and when I had to try and pick what A-levels I wanted to do, my head of sixth form was really nice about it and helped me from changing from psychology to economics, and it was a really quick process as well. So
I think for me it's relationship with the teachers, just knowing if I have any problems I can immediately go to them.
And just the atmosphere is completely different to any other school.
What I really enjoy about LaSWAP is that it helps you a lot with UCAS applications, and it helps you with career support, and it helps you to find out more information about university courses.
Thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully this will be a really useful session for you.
This kind of event is typical. LaSWAP played on speakers from Girton College in Cambridge because some students are interested in going to Oxbridge.
My ambition is to go to medical school, and LaSWAP helped me by setting me up with different placements like a hospital, a GP and Wellcome Trust, and they've set me up for my dreams in the future, and they just help me be in the best position that I can, and I just find it just amazing here.
Obviously the next stage is important for all of us, and LaSWAP gets people where they want to go.
LaSWAP has always had a really excellent track record in the destinations that we provide for our students and the support that we give our students. We're very proud, obviously, of our students who go to Oxbridge and our Russell Group University entrance, which is above the national average. However, we're equally proud of our students across the academic ability range who go onto a vast range of really different, stimulating, challenging courses at HE and increasingly apprenticeships.
we're both studying psychology at uni next year.
Great. I'm getting along. Very pleased. I was very pleased when I saw you as well.
So I basically got the grade.
I did alright. Yeah. I got an A and the other stuff will not be disclosed.
Got into uni.
Oh my god, I'm a genius. I'm going to get into any uni now.
You're going to make friends for life, and you are going to have teachers that will support you no matter what. So it's worth it. Stay here. Come to LaSWAP.
Well, in my experience, I looked around a few different schools, and I really felt that LaSWAP was my kind of school.
What I would say is LaSWAP felt the most welcoming to me. So my advice would be find a school that's the most welcoming and most enjoyable to you.
Fantastic. So I will just pick up now, and as Anna says, I'm going to talk a little bit about things, sort of our subjects, our curriculum, our entry requirements, and I will start just there. So we have a few different pathways at LaSWAP. We have a 2-year sixth form, a 2-year pathway, and on that pathway you can study three different types of courses. So we have a traditional A-level pathway. Most of our students do 3 A-levels, and you can see our entry requirements in the final column there. We also have a really popular vocational pathway where lots of our students study a BTEC qualification. That's sometimes an extended BTEC equivalent to 3 A-levels. Sometimes it's a BTEC diploma equivalent to 2 A-levels, where students take an A-level alongside that in most cases. And now we also have, we're really proud of our brand new T-level technical pathway as well. Where we currently have 1 T-level running, which started in September this year in media broadcast and production. But as you'll see on the next slide, in 2025, we're really proud and pleased to have another 3 T-levels starting at LaSWAP. We also offer a 3-year sixth form pathway as well for students who maybe don't quite have the grades to go straight into that level 3. We do offer a level 2 vocational pathway, usually with a maths and English resit. You can find all the information about these subjects along with detailed entry requirements on our website, which we'll show you later in the presentation. As Anna's already talked about, one of the huge appealing things about LaSWAP is the massive amount of choice. We really are the sixth form of choice, facilitated by the fact that we are so big. We have staff, hugely experienced staff, and a huge number of qualifications on offer. Because of the size of the consortium and the consortium model as well, this not only means that we have lots of different subjects, but it means you can combine them in lots of different ways. So in most cases, you can do any combination of subjects that makes sense and that fits on your timetable. You can see here, obviously, don't have to read this all in detail, but you can see the full breadth of the courses that we teach, over 35 A levels, and then our vocational and technical courses. And starting this year, as you can see at the end there, 3 T levels: marketing, early years, digital production, design and development, which are full-time courses. You just do a T level as on your timetable, and those T levels feature as well as really high level, really relevant and brand new industry linked teaching. They also feature a considerable amount of work experience. You can see there as well, and I think it was mentioned in the video that's just on. We also teach some A levels that are quite unusual, that aren't offered in very many places. So, for example, things like product design, graphics, German, dance, all quite unusual A levels, and also textiles as well. And as well, along with our vocational qualifications, Anna's already mentioned, we have Talica, which is our specialist sports campus alongside that. So all these subjects, all these students, what do they do and where do they go when they've been to us? Because of course we have you for 2 years, but after that we're really pleased and proud of where our students go. So you see, we have hundreds of qualifications taken every year across LaSWAP, and a quarter of our students leave with at least 1 A star or A grade or more. We're really proud of our A level results. Obviously, this is we are a truly comprehensive sixth form, and we're really proud of the results that our students achieve, given how close they are to national average, which obviously includes a lot of private schools and a lot of institutions that are very, very different to LaSWAP. We're also really proud of our destinations. We have a huge we have a huge program around preparing students for higher education, and we're really pleased that so many of our students, about 3/4 of them, go directly to university from year 13, which compares extremely favorably against the national average. We also have a large number of students who don't choose to go to university straight after year 13, but they can still choose to come back to us for things like references and support in the year that they've left if they've gone to take a gap year. And as well, in that we send large numbers off to Russell Group universities, people who are often looking for Russell Group numbers, but also some really elite specialist universities, really interesting courses, and lots of students to art foundation courses as well, for them to prepare for their next steps in their art journey. In fact, Anna, we've had, just thinking about this year, we've had a student with that really exciting composition offer already.
Oh yes, we have. Yeah, we have. Every year, Laura and I like to have the sort of what was the most interesting course that students applied for. And a few years ago, it was the Tonmeister course, wasn't it? Doing sound production at Surrey University. Yes, so I think this year our prize was physics with astrophysics, which was really interesting. But we've just had a student this week accepted for the Royal College of Music on a composition course, and he's had mentoring from. We have an orchestra that's based at Ackland Burley School, the Orchestra of the Age of Enlightenment, and they he's been along to their concerts. He's been in workshops with them. They gave him help with his personal statement and his interview practice and rehearsal, and he's just actually approached them to see if he can write a composed work for this professional orchestra. So amazing. What we're saying is there is a really big range in all sorts of kind of quirky ways, as well as lots of sort of standard UCAS pieces. I suppose the thing you need to take away from this is there isn't a sort of one size fits all at LaSWAP, because our students are not one size fits all.
Absolutely. And you can see here, as Anna said, there's really impressive courses there that you'd expect, dentistry and medicine, and universities like Warwick and Oxford, of course, but also then these really interesting courses as well, music with enterprise, planetary exploration with astronomy and astrobiology, therapeutic radiography. We have a lot of students who go down radiography, midwifery, nursing routes, and all those different routes are supported by our really experienced teams.
Laura, can I just make a point? Because a couple of things came up in the chat that I think are relevant to just when we're talking about the pathways. So somebody's just asked, and I thought I'd answer it live rather than type the answer, because I'm sure lots of you might be thinking, how many A-levels do you study or can you study? The vast majority of our students will be on a 3 A-level pathway, if you're on the A-level pathway. We do have a small number of students every year who will study 4. That will be students who would have an average point score from their GCSEs of kind of 7.5. So not it's worth bearing in mind, no university will make an offer on 4. It is much better to do brilliantly at 3 than do okay at 4. But every year we do have students who start 4, some complete 4. We've had a student who's done 5, had to teach himself one the further maths element of that. But the majority of our students will be on 3. We have also, if you start on 4, some students don't continue with 4. They find that too much, and they're just trying to weigh up which one they really prefer. But the vast majority will start on 3. If you are looking at BTEC or T levels, if it's a T level, you would just be doing a T level. So that would be all of your timetable. It counts as the equivalent of 3 A levels, and BTECs either count as 2 or as 3. So you might be doing an A level alongside a BTEC, and that's something which is quite a few places don't do that. They'll either offer vocational courses or they'll offer A levels, but we are one of the providers that you can do both that. Somebody else, can I just point out, I think I was at the beginning, I was just saying about the sport courses at Taleka, which are the lower entry level ones, level 1 and 2. If you wanted to study A-level PE, A-level PE is taught at our LaSWAP Union site, so it's one of the 4 schools. So because that's the A-level course for that, so it's one of the courses that's only offered in one of the schools. We have a number of subjects that are only taught at one school, and then other subjects, the big subjects, sort of maths and English and other sciences and so on, are taught at all 4 schools.
We
carry on, Laura.
Talika now offer level 3 BTEC sports coaching as well. So they do offer level 3 sports. They do offer level 3 sports qualifications. So all the way through, which is really exciting. Support. Just thinking about those next steps. So very briefly, we have a taught tutorial program that's every Monday, period 3. That is on students' timetables, and it is compulsory attendance. Lots of our program around HE, university, apprenticeships, careers takes place during that time. So it is really key time. We have all our students have access to HE advisors through bookable appointments. They have individual feedback from tutors when it comes to things like CVs, UCAS personal statements, things like that. And as I said, one-to-one appointments are bookable. We take our Year 12 to UCAS Discovery coming up on the 24th of March this year for them, which kind of kickstarts our HE journey, which is followed up all the way through the summer term with things like LaSWAP Futures Day, where we invite in, I think last year it was over 30 different businesses, universities, apprenticeship providers to come and do workshops with our students. We take students to University Open Days, we take them to masterclasses, we take them to trips, and we have a really good program of early entry support. So this is students who are planning to make an application to Oxford, Cambridge, or for a medicine or medicine adjacent course. With medicine, we work with Imperial College, we work with the Royal Free, we're working with some dentists this year to prepare students for that pathway. And we also work with Girton College at Cambridge and Hertford College at Oxford to provide early entry support. We run a series of parent information events and webinars on things like how does UCAS work, how does student finance work. We also run information for parents about early entry. And as part of that, we provide advice on apprenticeships and gap years. So if a student wants to do it, we can probably find out an answer. I had an email a couple of days ago about how to apply for university in Australia, which was new for me. But we always find a way. We always find the information they need. Which brings us on to the really important pastoral structure that we have in sixth form in LaSWAP, because it's not just about your lessons and about what you're doing in those lessons. It's about everything around that. So the tutor is a really key person. That's usually the student's first point of contact. They will see their tutor in mornings through the week. They will see them every Monday period 3, and they will form a really good relationship with that person. And that tutor is the person who ultimately writes their references for UCAS or for apprenticeships or whatever they go on to do. So they get to know them really well. Each student will have a head of year that is in the school that they are based in. So their tutor and their head of year will be part of that school. So for example, if you are based at Ackland Burley, you have a tutor at Ackland Burley, your head of year will be Mr. Alley or Mr. Stokes. And then each school also has a director, which you saw at the top of the presentation. So there's a really sort of strong pastoral support all the way through the school. The base school is the place that you speak to if a student is having, a young person is having issues, if they're having problems, if they've got concerns, then coming to that tutor or their head of year to address those is really key. As Anna's already said, each school has its own bespoke study space as well, which is a quiet study space through the day. And so we do support students that when they're not in lessons to use the school space in a sensible and thoughtful way. Oh, what you can see here are some fantastic photos of just a few of our enrichments and similar kind of experiences that we've had over the past couple of years. So you can see photos there from Youth Conference, Mulberry Youth Conference, from our production of Chicago, from Rounders again, from basketball, from induction, all kinds of different things that our students and places that our students go. They've been to CERN. They've been all over London, all over Europe. And we have some trips that are linked to things like universities and some that are linked to subjects. As part of LaSWAP, we do expect our young people to get involved. Your community is really important to us. And we do expect our young people to show that they really are part of our community and the wider community as well. We encourage social action and volunteering. We have a very, very active student council. We encourage students to take leadership either by forming their own enrichment groups or leadership within other roles in the community. We very strongly encourage students to take up work experience, and we support work experience and help students to find work experience placements in year 12. And we really are very, very excited and encouraging of students taking up the enrichment options that we have. Sorry, just to go back to that, just thinking about a few other enrichment options we've got. Enrichment runs period 5 on a Wednesday. That's the dedicated enrichment time, but we have other enrichment opportunities that take place at other times around school. And right now, depending on what you're interested in, you can join debating, you can join the Duke of Edinburgh, you can play Dungeons and Dragons, you can play basketball. If there is something that you want to do, we probably do it. And if we don't do it, then you can do it because we will try to facilitate and try and find a way for you to form that community within LaSWAP.
That's how the Rubik's Cube Club started. Sorry, I was answering a question there, Laura,
Amazing.
so you may not have, I didn't know if you'd mentioned the Rubik's Cube Club. No. But anyway, yeah, they're self-starting.
So as you can see, we have enrichment that is huge and broad, so things like football, basketball, D of E, and then we have enrichment that's very niche, and it really, it tells you a lot about our really varied, our amazing community. So after this, where can you go to find out more information? Well, our website is a really strong hub of information. There's I think most things that you need answering, you can find the answer on there. You can find our entry requirements. You can find sort of PDFs that are a summary of the entry requirements, but you can also find an individual page for each different course. So each A-level, vocational, T-level, whatever, that has detailed entry requirements on there and the outline of the subject, including things like how much coursework, non-exam assessment is it? How many exams is it? What do I study in year 12? What do I study in year 13? It's all on there underneath each course. We also have our prospectus on there and the Camden prospectus if you want to compare us to other sixth forms within Camden. We have our admissions policy, we have our enrichment timetable. You can look at some of our previous webinars if you'd like to watch me and Anna chatting some more. You can also find all of our previous newsletters, which go to parents and families and students every fortnight and have loads of opportunities and information in. If you need to get in touch with us, if you need information about things like careers, well-being, it is all on our website. So please do make sure that you check that out. So the important bit, next steps. The deadline to apply to LaSWAP is Friday, the 28th of February. So we still have plenty of time, but the deadline is coming up next month. If you are a current LaSWAP school student, so if you are a year 11 at one of the 4 schools, please do not use the link on the website. Please wait for your tutor to give you your login information and give you the information about your application, because it is ever so slightly different for students from those 4 schools. And if you want to find out more, our next event will be our Taster Day, which is in June. Information will be emailed to all students who've made an application to LaSWAP later in the year, so you won't miss out. We will send you an email with how to book that and what sessions we'll be offering and more information. And then, of course, really key, GCSE Results Day and enrolment. GCSE Results Day is Thursday, the 21st of August. Please do be available around results day for enrolment. And the first day of term is then Wednesday, the 3rd of September, where we will see you bright and early for some rounders and meeting new people and dressing up in newspaper.
Laura, I was just going to go through a few of the questions on the chat, and there's a couple of them that I think will be useful for all anyone who wants to carry on listening to listen to the answer. One's about wellbeing and support that we provide, and also around special educational needs. And then there's a question about base school allocation. So I'm going to answer those ones, and then if you have a look in the chat, there's also a couple on EPQ that you can probably answer. So somebody's asked about if a child has autism and anxiety, what help and support would they receive? So I'm just going to talk a bit about a few of those different things around, first of all, special educational needs. First thing I would say is it's really important, if your child has an EHCP, don't worry if they don't have an EHCP, but I'm going to just explain what you have to do if they do have an education, health and care plan. If your child has an EHCP and you want to name LaSWAP, you need to name LaSWAP and go through the annual review and your the process for the annual review. Then through your local authority, you will name us, and then they will we will do a consultation. So the consultation has to come to me actually at LaSWAP, but you can go to info@LaSWAP. That's fine. Laura, do you mind putting that in the chat? Actually,
I'll put that in the chat.
The info@. So that's if you've got an education, health and care plan. Please note though, if you do, you also do have to do a standard application as well, which is the application form that you can see the QR code for on the screen in front of you now. And those two things then go alongside. For even if you're applying through an EHCP system, and for all students, our entry requirements do stand. There are no exceptions that we make for the for entry requirements. So even if you do an application through an EHCP, you will still have to meet entry requirements. Okay, let's step down from an EHCP point of view, but other kind of educational, special educational needs, we do then look at it. We would encourage you to put as much as you possibly can onto your application form and give us as much background detail as you can, so that we can put in support that is matching your child's needs. So for example, if you had access arrangements for your GCSEs, you use a laptop, you have extra time and those things, it's absolutely crucial that you put those things on your application form, and so that we can look at how we can get that smooth transition from year 11 into year 12. In terms of kind of emotional well-being, all of the schools have members of staff in their sixth form teams whose job really is to be the support for emotional well-being and support. We have people who are non-teachers, who don't have a teaching timetable, who support the year teams with student well-being. So the support comes through these specialist members of staff, the SENCOs, the designated safeguarding leads, the tutor. Every child will have their tutor, and that person is a kind of first port of call for parents, alongside obviously all the 4 directors. And each of the 4 schools, has very strong pastoral support, not just in the sixth form, but lower down as well. So schools have access to counsellors, we have place to talk, we have members of staff who are available for young people to talk to and signpost services. So I suppose what I would say at this point is it's really important that you just tell us as much as you can. Don't feel like you have to hide those things on the application form. It's much better we go into things openly. The thing I would say is that we're not a virtual school. We are an in-person sixth form, and that again is really important for parents and families to understand. We don't offer kind of hybrid learning. So if you're looking for the sort of placement where you might be part-time and not a full-time student and be able to work from home, that isn't LaSWAP. Hopefully that's answered that one. There's some questions about EPQ, Laura, that I'm going to answer the base school question, and then I'll come back to, if you then can answer the EPQ. So, there's a dress code one as well.
Yes, I just saw that one.
Can I say at this point, it's 18:43. We haven't sort of formally ended the webinar now. We're going to go through the Q&A now and answer any outstanding questions. Please don't feel you have to stay for the questions. You can always watch them later, or if you feel you've had your questions answered, that's absolutely fine.
I will just show the little video at the end though, because it's lovely.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Let's show the video at the end, and then
show the little video at the end.
We'll do 10 more minutes of questions. Yeah, absolutely. Fire away.
I really liked how I could do some of my subjects at a different school. I did psychology at Burley, and then my other 2 were Parliament Hill. We were a bit of William Ellis and history.
Special. I think for me, the fact that we've got a place like this where it's like a whole community. I know a lot of people from William Ellis came and they built more bonds, more friendships. People I didn't speak to in year 11, I ended up close to them in year 12, year 13.
The SWAP is a very diverse place, like a community at the same time. I made a lot of lifelong friends here, and so I just really like the school. Even now, my sister's coming here next year.
Because you get the variety, the excitement, the novelty that comes from going to a new sixth form college. You meet so many new people, but you also have the benefit of strong pastoral relationships, the familiarity of teachers who know you.
Thank you so much. I had really great fun, and had a great relationship with all my teachers, and it really made everything more enjoyable.
That was results day, A-level and level 3 results day this year. Just some of our really happy students.
I'm just going to talk about the base school and the allocation of the base school, and also about which courses happen at which school. It isn't at the moment, we don't publish exactly which courses are on at which school, because that does change when we make timetabling decisions. But the way that we will allocate a base school is if you went to one of the LaSWAP schools in year 11, your default would be that you will be based at your school that you went to up to year 11. There are some exceptions to that around BTECs, and there are a small number of students who do change each year for kind of extenuating circumstances reasons, but the majority will stay on. If you are an external student coming from a non-LaSWAP school in year 11, then what we do is we look at, during enrolment, you apply to LaSWAP, so we look at where the majority of your lessons will take place, and that will be your base school. So that's really important for people to understand, because it isn't a sort of pick and choose like a sweet shop, where you can say, well, I want to do maths here and biology here, and then I want to do PE over here. I mean, PE actually, that's a bad example, because PE you will be doing at LSU because it's only taught in one place. But actually, that's very important to understand, that it isn't this kind of picking and choosing. And what we do after you've enrolled on results day, when you've uploaded your results and you've gone through enrolment, there is always rebalancing for students. We have to look at kind of numbers of students who've applied for different courses, to make sure that you haven't got one huge economics group and one tiny economics group, and so on. So the base school, the principle we operate on is that your base school is where the majority of your lessons will take place. Do you want to answer the EPQ questions, Laura?
I can answer the EPQ question. First, before I answer that, just very, very quickly, because I've just had a question about the deadline. The deadline is the 28th, not the 14th. Apologies. We have just moved it to accommodate, to give people half term to put the application in. So it was going to be the 14th, which it still clearly says on the website, which I need to sort out. But it won't close until the 28th. Don't worry. And I am sorry about that. It just gives students half term to complete them. So EPQ is, if you're not sure what an EPQ is, it's an extended project qualification. It is a independent research project that students can produce. They can do it on pretty much any topic they want to. They choose a topic area that they're interested in. It has to be academic, it has to be studyable, but they have a lot of freedom to make that choice. And the EPQ it's the equivalent. It's worth half an A level. It does carry UCAS points. We do encourage students to take EPQs because they are really, really good at developing skills that universities really like. So things like project management, planning, independent study, research, things like that. The EPQ runs at all 4 schools. So students doing whatever combination of subjects will have the opportunity to do an EPQ somewhere. And it runs in most cases from year 12 into year 13. So it varies slightly school by school, exactly when it starts and finishes. But in most cases, it starts in the autumn term of year 12 and it finishes during the autumn term, usually of year 13. So it's slightly over a year. The EPQ can be a dissertation, or it can be an artifact-based project, so students can create something. And traditionally, I think EPQs are sometimes seen as something that is, because you can do a dissertation, people sometimes see it as, oh, it's something that only like the very, very students with the very top grades can do. But it's not at all. We have students who do all kinds of different qualification combinations that do EPQs and are really successful. And we do try to accommodate all students who want to do an EPQ, as long as they show that they are capable and that they are interested and engaged.
Brilliant. Thanks, Laura. I think that's done the EPQ questions.
Lovely.
There was just another one about enrolment. There's a few more. Oh yeah, this is quite an important one actually, about can you change your chosen subjects after submitting the application? Yeah, actually, you absolutely can. Everything that you write on your application is basically moot at this point anyway, and conditional. Unlike other sixth forms, there is the possibility of changing once you actually enrol in August with your real results. So some sixth forms will only make you an offer on what you've applied for, but we know that people do change their minds, or they do better in one subject than they do in another, than they thought in GCSE. So when you are asked to enrol, then what you will be doing is you will be then finalising and confirming your choices at that point. Of course, what that does mean is you can't suddenly switch to a course that you're not qualified to do. But as long as you are qualified to do that, then you are able to change, as long as you're doing it within the enrolment window. Laura, do you want to say something about the enrolment? There's a question about, can you enroll, do you have to be there, or can you do it online?
So in the majority, there are some cases in which we can do online enrollment. So students who meet the entry requirements for the subjects that they've applied for and are able to access the internet to enroll, to do the first part of the enrollment on Thursday when they get their results. In those cases, we can do some online enrollments. But if a student doesn't meet the entry requirements for any of the courses that they've applied for, and so we need to look at an alternative pathway, we will need to meet with that student to discuss it. So we very, very strongly recommend that you are available during that enrollment time. So the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and maybe into the week after, because if we do need to see you, then obviously we will need to see you and speak to you. We do appreciate that there are some circumstances in which that absolutely can't happen, and we are open to discussion about that, but it may not be the case. We may not be able to complete an online enrollment. It would depend.
Thanks, Laura. Someone's just asked, can you take an EPQ and 2 A levels? No, yeah, did you answer that one? Sorry.
I was about to, and then didn't want to get a chance. No, unfortunately not. A full-time timetable is the equivalent to 3 A levels, or more. So we start our students in nearly every case, we start our students on the equivalent of 3 A levels or more. So it would be very, very unlikely that we would enroll a student for an EPQ and 2 A levels because it's not a full-time timetable. So it would be an EPQ would be done alongside, so 3 A levels and an EPQ, or a BTEC diploma and an A level and an EPQ would be needed.
Laura, do you just want to say something about conditional offers and how it works on Applica? Because we get so many people who apply, because obviously you're in the position in London where you can apply for as many sixth forms as you want. So we understand, we know that people hold different offers. So it's a different sort of landscape from other parts of the country, isn't it?
Definitely. And we would encourage students to explore different sixth forms, as well as LaSWAP. So we will make a conditional offer and it will come out through Applica. So whatever email address you've put into the application form, you'll get your conditional offer. And that conditional offer will simply say, if you meet the entry requirements for the subjects that you've chosen, then based on you enrolling in August, then we will make you a conditional offer. It doesn't go into lots more detail than that, which is one of the reasons why we do need you to be available to enroll in August, because that conditional offer is just really an acknowledgement of the courses that you've applied for and what those entry requirements are. That is not a guarantee of a place, and it's not an enrollment either. It is just a preliminary offer. Also, please bear in mind that I think, as Anna's already said, whatever courses that you put down on that when you apply, it's 6 months between that and you actually getting your results. We know that young people change their minds, so you don't have to enroll for the subjects that are on your application form, even if you've been made a conditional offer for those. If you meet the entry requirements, then we will enroll you for different subjects if you've changed your mind in the meantime.
So if you're worried about, you've submitted an application, it's got subjects on it that are not, and then that young person changes, don't worry. Okay, it will not affect your application. You can change it on enrolment. So hopefully that has helped those people who were just questioning that bit. You don't have to go back in and reset and resubmit something. It's fine. Laura, go on.
Yeah, you actually can't. Once you've submitted the application, you can't go in and change it. It needs to be unlocked at our end. If you've made a little mistake, don't worry too much about it. If you've made a mistake and your young person is really concerned, if you email the info@ email address, Lizzie or Francesca will be able to help you.
Thank you. We're going to take just a couple more questions, just because time's moving on. So on the day of enrolment, is it first come, first served for courses? It isn't like that, because we have an enrolment period, and that wouldn't be fair for people who are qualified for the courses. But we you might want to type it in, actually, Laura, our admissions policy.
Yes, it's on the website. Yeah.
Yeah, because it might be worth having a look at that. So we are oversubscribed for sixth form courses. We have not been in a position where we have had to turn students away for courses they are completely qualified to do up until this point. But we do have a ranking in our admissions policy of when groups are, but we do cap our courses and different courses like practical subjects at a certain level, A-level subjects at a certain level, and so on. So it wouldn't be first come, first serve, but over the official time of enrolment, which is GCSE results day for all internals, and then the Friday and the Saturday after that. But if you're then wanting to be a late entrant, you're looking at that at the end of August and into September, that's when actually we may be full. So we will send out lots more information about the enrolment period and how that works, so that there's a sort of understanding and a transparency about how it works, to be fair, but also so that we don't end up having people coming in September and thinking that they can just waltz into a course that is now full. When should we hear and have an offer? Yeah, Laura, we don't really, it's you'll just get this email back that says if you meet the entry requirements, you've made
it's usually around the Easter holidays.
Yeah. So the entry requirements are all on the LaSWAP website. Do you want to just post that in the chat, the entry requirements list? And then that could be one of the last things that we just put in the chat. What we're going to do, a couple of people said, will it be...
I can't post the link, unfortunately, because I'd need to come out of this presentation. So
don't worry, that's absolutely fine. The entry requirements are all on the LaSWAP website. So if we are pretty much finished now.
If you go to the LaSWAP website, if you go to curriculum, which is so across the top of the website, there are various different pages. If you go to curriculum, all the entry requirements are very, very clearly under there. And as I say, they're there in two formats. They're there in a PDF format, so you can just look at two sides of A4 and see all the entry requirements for all the subjects. And there's also a format where you can go into each individual subject and course and see the entry requirements in a lot more detail.
Right, everybody, I'm going to finish our webinar there. Many thanks for your attendance. It's been great to have so many people with us this evening. Yeah, really good. Thank you, Laura. And we look forward to seeing many of you in September and receiving your applications. And as Laura said, if you have any queries at all about the actual application system and the practicalities and the logistics of that, if you just email the info@LaSWAP email address, then they will be able to help you and with any queries about that.
Yeah.
Many thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a lovely evening. I hope this has been helpful and informative.